It's time for the Trucker John live stream. Gonna be a good time. Oh yeah. The Trucker John live stream. Come along for a good time. It's a good time, good time, good time, good time. Trucker John live stream. Gonna be a good time. Gonna be the time of your life. Gonna talk some shit. Hush your mouth. Gonna talk a little smack. Gonna talk whatever comes of it. You're gonna always wanna come back. Oh yeah, it's the Trucker John live stream. He's the biggest, baddest, funniest mother you've ever seen. Watch your mouth, he's headed south. Not even sure what that means, but if it's one thing I know, the Trucker John live stream is the best thing you've ever seen.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, the moment you've been waiting for. Trucker John. And happy St. Patrick's Day to you. Now this is what I call a leprechaun. All right, testing, 1, 2, 3. Hopefully you guys can hear me. I do have a green mic, and I know it's the day after St. Patty's Day, but I put those little leprechaun things just for fun. So hope you guys had a good St. Patty's Day. For those that observe, I saw some observations yesterday as in my cab driving. A few people falling down drunk, But hey, it's Vegas, man. It's Vegas, baby. Good morning, everybody. It's 9:10, 9:11. It's 9:11. We're sitting at about 53 degrees. Supposed to get a high of 68 today, or 65. We've had some surprise. Been rainy yesterday and today. There was no rain in the forecast, but we got rain anyhow. So there you go. All right, I see Fancy's here. Fancy first in there. Dave from Grand Prairie, Texas was here. Aaron's here. Hello, Aaron. Thanks for being here. Deborah Murphy, good to see you. James Jaramillo is in the driver's lounge. William's here. Hello, Trucker John. Everybody else. Hello, William. MJ Daniels here. Hey, MJ, good to see you from Washington. Roxanne Arfield. Hi, everyone. I'll just be listening, working on my taxes. It's that time, isn't it? MJ Daniel, welcome to the United States of North Korea. Big Hook, the Big Canucks here. Big Hook says, get the show on the road, pedal to the metal, keep on trucking until we get there. Are we running on fumes from Jack in the Box? We need more power, Scotty. The lithium crystals are dying. Can you push? Jolie's here. All right, so we are at full mod capacity. Thank you for being here, Jolie. And Michael McAndrews is here. Hey, Michael, good to see you. Dumpy Stump makes it hard to keep my food down. You and me both, brother. You and me both. Deborah Murphy says the house just closed till March 21st, 2025. Must be nice, huh? The Soulcraft is here. Hey, Soulcraft. Thanks for being here. Good to see you. Morning to you. Let's see. I'm scrolling on down. Let's see. We got 18 watching, 18 thumbs ups. Thank you so much. Now we got 20 watching. So make sure you like, subscribe, and share. The more the merrier, I always say. Big Hook was I okay last night on Dan's? No feedback, so I was wondering if I pissed people off. I didn't listen to the show. Unfortunately, I was out driving and I didn't have a chance to jump in. I mean, sometimes if I'm in a taxi line that's there's a long wait, I can go and listen to the show or something. But I couldn't do. And last night, I didn't. Actually, the taxi lines were moving pretty fast last night, so I didn't. I didn't do that. Michael McAndrew says you were okay, Big Hook. Don't worry, you're okay. You were okay. Didn't piss anybody off. Soulcraft, is it 1111 or 1111? I don't know what that means, but okay. Paul J's here. Hey, Paul, good to see you. Paul says, howdy, Big John. Well, howdy back at you. So, what's going on in the world today? Hopefully, at least we haven't shut down the government. I guess we have a continuing resolution. So, at least we got that going for us. What else is going on? I guess Israel just killed another 400 Palestinians. So that's going on. We got one-sided peace talks, I guess, in Ukraine and between Ukraine and Russia. I'm not sure how that works. I don't know if you guys can hear the planes. We got planes overhead. People flying into Vegas or leaving Vegas. Um, what else is going on with the world? Big Hook says, "Is the taxi more to your liking, John?" I like it. I don't know if it's more to my liking than Uber, but I like it. It's working out good. It's working out pretty good. I like my little system that I do. I pretty much just um, I just hang out on the strip. I like just doing hotel to hotel. I don't like really going out to the outskirts. I drop people off at the airport, but I've never picked anyone up at the airport because to pick up it's you have to go and to this place. It's called the Pit, and it's where there'll be dozens, if not hundreds, of cabs in the pit and all lined up, and you know I just don't have a desire to do that. I'd rather just stay on the strip where it's kind of boom boom boom. That's what I like to do. I like to just keep moving. Um, Soulcraft says seems like Vegas would be the coolest city to drive a taxi. It's pretty cool. I don't mind it. Last night I had a very lovely young lady. I did drive her off to her house. It was off the strip. She works on the strip, and drove her a few miles off the strip. And she gave me I want to say it was like I think a $28 tip. That was nice. That was nice. And she made up for a lot of the cheapskates, because I was getting a lot of cheapskates that would not that didn't either tip or they just tipped like $2 or $1. I mean, literally. And I was getting kind of pissed. I mean, not to their face or whatever. I mean, I'm not going to say, "Hey, you cheapskate," but after I would look at the tip. Like if it was a credit card thing, you can see what they tipped on the receipt, or just in the cash, you can see they tipped. It amounted to $1 or $2, and I just remember thinking, God, cheapskates. But then that one gal, she made up for it with that one tip. With that, it was a $28 tip. So, because I think the ride was, I'm trying to remember what it was, what it came to. I think it came to like 30 or 32, like $32, and she gave me 3 20s and said, "Keep the change." I said, "Thank you very much, ma'am. I really greatly appreciate it. You made my night." I said. She said, "You're welcome." So anyhow, but yeah, I like the taxi driving. It's not bad. Pamela says the astronauts should be safe back to Earth this evening, provided the stupid Elon Musk rocket doesn't blow up or something. God forbid. I just shouldn't even. I don't mean that as a joke because that's horrible. But I would be very hesitant or reticent about getting into anything, especially in space, that came from an Elon Musk company. Big Hook says, "World's on fire with no fire trucks lately. Arsonists everywhere." Wow, I haven't really heard about that. The Soulcraft. I'm going to try to do Uber or Uber Eats for summer. Yeah, give it a shot. Give it a shot. You might like it, and it works out. That's great. And if you don't like it, you can. There's like you just don't have to do it. So it's pretty cool. But that's the great thing about Uber is the flexibility of it. But I will tell you, lots and lots of drivers. Because I have to Uber back and forth to work. I don't have to. I did look up the bus line. I could take the bus. It would take it. According to the website, they say that to get from where I live to my work on the bus, they project it as an hour and 17-minute ride, and it's literally 15 minutes by car. And that's even with traffic, it's about 15 minutes. So anyhow, I could take the bus, but I've been taking Uber, and they, I talk to them because I tell them that I was an Uber driver and stuff like that, and they keep complaining about how they get paid less and less and less. AM says, "I think you like this taxi gig more than the last one." Well, this is the only one as far as taxis are concerned. But I was doing rideshare, and I did Lyft, and I didn't like Lyft because there was no money in that. That was about half the money I was making with Uber. So, but I do like Uber, and it looks like I might be finally, after 4 months, I might finally get reinstated or whatever back to Uber. They finally reran my motor vehicle report, and it passed. And now they're doing the criminal background check, and that's going to pass, but that just takes a little longer. And so I should be back on the Uber app, able to do rides. And I was thinking of maybe doing both, because with this cab company, I am hired on as a part-time flex, so I'm really only supposed to work 30 hours a week. And I was thinking eventually maybe I'll get a car or something that I could use, that I could drive for Uber and maybe do Uber, a little bit too. So we'll see. See how it works. Robert Perez is here. Hey, Robert, good to see you. Thanks for being here. Robert says, "Hello, Trucker John, and a lovely day to all trucklers out there." Yeah, remember the trucklers? Haven't used that term in a while. You guys are trucklers in the chat. MJ Daniel, here's a quarter. Were we talking about the tip or something? Or I don't know. Are you one of those cheap tippers? Big Hook food delivery tips are way down as well. Chris Doug, "I always tip as long as I can afford. I will continue to give a gratuity." Hey, look, I'm not expecting everyone to give me a $28 tip. That was a very generous tip. Very nice that young lady. Very, very nice of her to do that. I'm not expecting that, but when I get there was one ride where it was $9.98. I think the ride, it was a short one up down the strip somewhere. I think it was like $9.98. The guy gave me a $10 bill and said, "Keep the change." And I just kind of laughed. And but I don't think, or you know what? I don't think he even said keep the change. I think he just gave me the $10 bill and said thank you very much, and he left. That one had me shaking my head. I was like, I got a $2 tip out of it. That was 2 cents. Okay, that's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about I need every tip to be $28. No, I don't. But at least I don't know, $3, $5, you know, $6, whatever. It depends on of course, what the fare is. But a lot of the fares are $20, $23, $25. You know, I think I would like I don't know, $4 or $5 tip, something like that. I don't expect $28 every time. $4 or $5 is nice, for a $20 fare or whatever. So, but when you get 2 cents, you're like, what the fuck? And I had another one. I think it was $1 tip, and I didn't say, I don't say anything, but I just think, just in my head, I'm just thinking, wow, last of the big spenders there. And and also I'm like, well, I'm just like, well, some people come from other cultures. They don't know about tipping. Tipping isn't a thing where they're from. So I try to give people the benefit of the doubt, and it's like, look at there, Michael McGann, just $5. Got to meet the goal. Thank you, Michael. Yippee to Michael. Yippee, Michael McGann. Thank you so much. We made the goal. We got our goal. $5. Speaking of $5, thank you, Michael. I do appreciate you. Thanks for being a big part of the show and helping the show and all that. I do appreciate you. But anyhow, but I remember I got a couple of those tips for like $1 and $2, and I was just thinking, well, I mean, and it kind of kept happening. It wasn't just nice. It wasn't just like one or two times. I think it happened quite a bit last night, and I remember kind of getting kind of mad, kind of angry about it. And then that gal gave me the $28 tip, and then I was like, well, I was just thinking to myself, well, I guess that made up for all those bad tippers. Whatever. It is what it is. Because I ended up making, I want to say, I only worked I think I only worked like 6 hours. I only drove 6 hours. I did 10 trips. So I know it sounds like I did 100 trips or something. I did 10 trips in 6 hours, and I did walk home with some cash in my pocket with the tips. I want to say it was like $60 or $70 or something. The 28 came from one person. So I don't know. I guess people were tipping okay, but there was a couple that didn't, and I guess that stood out in my mind. Hey, we got Mrs. Jacqueline C. Look up the artist Moonwalking. Okay. Josh is here. Hey, Josh, good to see you. Thanks for joining us here. Mrs. Jacqueline C. Bring portable Clorox wipes and a Walmart bag. Viruses are out there. I do have the Clorox wipes with me, and I have plastic bags. Viruses out there. I know. I often, every time someone coughs in the cab, I'm like, God damn it! They better not get me sick. And I'm always thinking I should be wearing a mask, but I never do. Big Hook. Is Vegas slowing down as the economics worsen? I don't know. I was wondering if that was going to happen. So far, I haven't seen that. This is sort of the official start of the busy season, because it's sort of like spring break is starting. This was a holiday, with St. Patrick's Day on Monday. It was like a 3-day weekend, so it was a very busy weekend. We had NASCAR here. A lot of people here for NASCAR. We had the Mountain West Conference tournament, basketball, college basketball. That a lot of people came here for that. We had some good conventions, big conventions that were here. People were for that, and then people do come here for St. Patrick's Day, and they make a weekend out of it. And so it was a pretty busy weekend, and it's hard to say. So it's hard to say right now if things are slowing down because it was busy, but I've seen busier. This is like my third year in a row now of doing either ride share or now doing taxi driving. And this is my third year in a row of being here during this time, like when things start to get busy. And it does seem a little less busy, if that makes sense. Even though was a really busy weekend, it did seem a little less to me. But I don't know. The temperatures dropped. It got cold. It got rainy. Maybe that keeps some people away because a lot of people do come up from California. A big portion of the people that are here are from California, and maybe if it's cold and rainy and windy, and they know they can see a weather report, they know if it's cold and windy and rainy here. Maybe that keeps some people away. I don't know. I'm not sure, but it did. It was very busy, and I don't know. My observation of it, if it's just that's anecdotal or whatever, but it did seem a little less busy than in the past. But we'll see because this is just really the first kind of weekend of spring break, and usually from now on, from about this time all the way until the fall is it's usually busy because that's when spring break happens, and then you get then school ends, like in June or May or June or whatever. And then you get all the summer people all on vacations, and people like to come here, even though it's hotter than hell. Like people love to be here. They love to use the pools and all that kind of stuff. So we'll see. It's a little early to tell if things are slowing down or not. Chris Doug's here. Chris Doug says apparently courts rulings, judges, and basically the judicial branch of government has no jurisdiction over Trump. Thank the dipstick Supreme Court ruling for this constitutional crisis. It's a mess, Chris. We are in a mess. Fancy, are you wearing your mask? And I am not wearing my mask. I just said that. Marsha's here. Hey, Marsha. Hello, good to see you. Thanks for being here. John Deff is here. Hey, John, good to see you. Thanks for joining us in the driver's lounge. I do appreciate you. Michael McAndrews says Uber sounds like something that might come out of your nose. Oh, Uber. Yeah. Okay, I got it. Yeah. I get you. Yakety Smack is here. Hey, Yakety Smack. Good to see you. Thanks for coming on in, hanging out. Thanks for being here. Pam J says maybe she had a good day at the tables. Well, she actually worked. She was she told me she was a, what she call it, private concierge, whatever the hell that is. I know there's people that they work at the casinos, or they don't work for the casinos, but I guess they're able to go in, and they're private concierges, and they take care of people, and get them whatever they need, get them booked at shows, and make sure they got cabs, or they got rides, make sure they got the rooms they want, make sure, whatever I guess it's a private concierge. I don't know. And she probably gets tipped very well. And so she felt like passing some of that on to me, She lived in a very, very nice neighborhood, gated community, security guards, the whole 9 yards. She lived in a very nice place as a private concierge. The Soulcraft should be 15% at least. Like, there's the Micro Andrews super stickers. Thank you so much. Again, yippee. I'm just now getting to that in the chat. So thank you, Michael, again for that. Fancy gifted a membership. Thank you, Fancy. Thank you. Yippee to Fancy. Yippee. We got a membership, and that went to Takati. who I don't remember ever seeing in here. So maybe that will bring Takati in. You know. So thank you, Fancy, for doing that. Josh says I had a pizza delivery person get excited for a $10 tip. She said it was the best tip all night. I kind of felt bad for her after hearing that. Hey, $10, that's a good tip. That's a good tip. I'm like even me, because I know that tips can, if you're a person who works in a job that gets tips can really boost your morale. And like last night, I was getting those shitty tips, and it was doing the opposite of boosting my morale. I was getting kind of pissed. And then she gave me that $28. That lifted my spirits right up. And even getting some $5 and $6 tips, that's nice. That's a nice tip, and it just kind of makes you feel better. And I know a lot of times when I order food here, I'll tip on the app. I'll just because you can just click it, and I'll just tip I don't know $4 or $5, and then when they come to the door, I'll give them another $4 or $5. I'll go, hey, I tipped on the app, but here you go. Here's another $5 or whatever, and they're like, oh, thank you so much, and you can just see how they light up. It's it's just nice. It's just nice. The Soulcraft says if I come into a restaurant late, I'll give them a good $10 to $20, even if it's to go because I've been in their shoes. Yeah, that's right. Marshall, I always tip 20%, having been a waitress for 10 years when young. Yeah. See, when you do those kind of jobs, you know how tips are really appreciated. Pam J, you should be wearing a mask. I know I should be wearing a mask, but almost no one wears them. A few drivers, but there are a few drivers that wear them, and they're probably the smart ones. Josh, I always tip better for delivery the worse the weather is. Oh yeah, that's something to think about. Yeah. Marsha, hello, Trucker Soulcraft, or hello, Soulcraft. I used to do the same. Haven't been out to eat or ordered for 15 years. Drastic life changes happened. Yeah, things happen. Jojo Mojo Jojo's here. Hey, Jojo Mojo Jojo, my favorite name on the internet. Thanks for being here. Hello, everyone. Hope you're all well. Well, hope you're well also. Mrs. Jacqueline C says Gen X and millennial people set up a paywall to teach what you learned in life, no matter if you think it's common sense, extra cash, and helps the youth. Okay. Hey, Christina Weibel's here. Hey, Christina, good to see you. Hello to you. Thanks for being here. Thanks for coming and hanging out. We're just hanging out today. Today's our hangout day. We're going to let it all hang out, if you know what I mean. AM says I was a waitress at a Friendly's restaurant back in the 80s. Saturdays was my favorite shift because I would end up with $200 in tips. Yeah, big day. Saturdays are big restaurant days, huh? I remember my mom. She used to do waitressing a lot when she was younger, and back in those days, and this is back in the you know late '60s and early '70s. So when a meal was an entire meal might be $5 or something like at Denny's or something. And so she would come home. She would wear, she had like a waitress outfit, and I guess it had like one of those apron things with those big giant pockets, on the side. And she would come home with her pockets just bulging, full of mainly quarters, but I guess nickels, dimes, everything. Because I remember, and she used to buy back in those the paper wrappers or the rolls to roll up coins, and I would help her do that as a kid, little kid, and so we would because she would have, I don't know, man. It was all coins. Very little, very few like any paper money tips because like I said, uh, what's 10% of $5? That's 50 cents. Back then, it was more common to just tip like 10 to 15%. It really was. It was more like 10% back in the late '60s, early '70s. So a lot of her tips would be like 50 cents, 60 cents, 55 cents. Because she got nickels and she got dimes, a lot of quarters, a lot of dimes actually. Because I remember the dime rolls. And she would get, I don't know, she would probably make, who knows, I can't even remember, 50, 60 bucks, maybe 80 bucks in coins every night. And so she would roll them because then she would take them to the bank, and you couldn't just go in and plop down a bunch of money on the counter. You had to bring them in rolled in those paper rolls. And I remember we would do that, and she would stack up all of her things, and then every few days or whatever, she would go to the bank and deposit the money. Um, that was her walking around money because my dad had a job, full time job, and he made really good money. But my mom, she liked to go out and work and make a little extra money. Fancy says people come from all over Vegas. I would wear that mask. Yeah, I know. I know. I know. I know. Josh is a bass player. I'm a bass player with the Syracuse Orchestra and occasionally do musical theater stuff. That's pretty cool. Pam J, I would feel more secure if my cab driver wears a mask. I'm happy to see cashiers wearing masks. Everyone, please stay safe and healthy. Yeah, COVID's still around, and now we got measles outbreaks. Thank you, RFK Jr. You unqualified nut job, you whack job. And I don't care what Mike Papantonio says and how much he tries to defend you. You're a fucking whack job. And you have no business being the head of what is it, the Health and Human Services or whatever he is. I don't know if you guys saw last week, Papantonio was on the Nicole Sandler show. And that pissed me off. He pissed me off. The way he was defending RFK Jr. just because it was his buddy. Fuck you dumbass. Anyhow, William says all bus drivers in Philly wear masks. Big Hook, airplanes are the worst. I now understand why all the Asians traveling wore masks. Recycled air doesn't help. Marcia says, I played piano since age 9 until rheumatoid arthritis in my hands and a little acoustic guitar. Was it a little acoustic guitar? Pam J says, hey, TJ, T. John, has anyone ever sprayed Lysol in the cab before they got in? I have not seen that. But I was thinking about buying some myself. I do have the Clorox wipes, and I kind of wipe everything down with it when I start my shift. And I was thinking about I should get some Lysol disinfectant. And I just haven't done it yet. Josh, I want RFK Jr. to go on The Masked Singer. I want him to just go away, but Big Hook. That reminds me, I need to get back to playing my synthesizer. It has not been getting much love lately. Go play it. It'll make you happy. Stuff like that, I think, makes people happy. If you can play an instrument, just spend some time with it. It'll help you get through the day. Chris Doug says I went to Trader Joe's yesterday, and the only people wearing masks were elderly Asian people. We have a large Japanese and Korean population here. Where are you at, Chris? I always forget. What's your region? The Soulcraft says I like the mask things you can pull up and keep on your shoulders. They call it a gaiter. Oh yeah, I use it under my motorcycle helmet for work. Yeah, those have been around a long time. Those gaiters. I'm not sure exactly how effective they are. I mean, I'm sure they're better than nothing. Josh says, I wonder if you could get an ozone generator for the cat. I don't even know what that is. I don't know. Marshall's 11 out Trucker John had lessons for piano, but not the guitar. It was a cheap Sears guitar. Hey, Suzanne Forseppi's here. Good to see you, Suzanne. Haven't seen you in a while. Thanks for dropping by. Thanks for coming on in. Pam J. Lysol spray for riders before they get in. Yeah, like between each fare, or between each ride. That's a good idea. That's a good idea. Chris Doug says northern New Jersey across the river from Manhattan. Oh, okay. I've been up that way, Chris Doug, in my truck driving days. I've been up in that area. So crafty. Eons. Big Cook, the problem with it's Big Dog here. Hey Big Dog, good to see you. I didn't see you there for a minute there, but thanks to Jolie, I saw that she said hi, Big Dog. So thank you, Jolie, and thank you, Big Dog. But Big Hook, not to be confused with Big Dog, so the problem with music is professionals make it look effortless. Yeah, they do. Josh says, laughing out loud, TJ gonna hose down and delouse his riders. Yeah, I'm like, okay, hold on. Okay, now you can get in. Chris Doug, I've been to Cali dozens of times, but Nevada only once at age 9. Well, it's here waiting for you. It'll be here. There's over 2 million people in this valley. Believe it or not, there's about 640 in Las Vegas, in the city of Las Vegas, and that's not even the Strip. That's not even counting the Strip. The Strip is actually just part of Clark County. But you have Las Vegas, you got North Las Vegas, you got Henderson, and then all the surrounding areas that are part of the county, and that's over, I think, 2.2 million people, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly. So we've got quite a few people here, and that probably makes up almost 90% of the population of the state. Other than the other big population center is up in the Reno Sparks area, in the Carson Valley area. That's the big, because Carson City is the state capital. But I would say this Clark County area, the Las Vegas, it's got to be at least 90% of the population of the state is right here. Big Hook says, is there currently any big names visiting Vegas? You mean like acts, performers? Well, let's see. We got Rod Stewart. The Eagles just did their last show, I believe, last Saturday. And the Eagles, believe it or not, are still so huge. I mean, I think they sold out every show. I don't know how many shows they did. They've had a residency here at the Sphere, and so I don't know how many shows they did, but they did quite a few. I think they sold out every show. The last show was Saturday, and I even picked up a young lady that went to the show, and she was like probably born, I'm sure, well after the heyday, like the Eagles' biggest time, was the 70s. That's when they really were kind of ruled the world, at least in pop music, with the charts and album sales and all that kind of stuff. And this young lady, I don't think she was even 30. She flew all the way from Florida just for that show. She said she wasn't a gambler, really. She didn't gamble. She kind of checked out some of the casinos, and she saw some of the sites, but she didn't gamble, and she just came here for the Eagles. That's amazing to me, because to me the Eagles, they're from the '70s, and they really haven't done anything as far as new music is concerned since the '70s. And then Don Henley has, solo stuff was mainly in the '80s for him, right? And whatever solo stuff they did, Glenn Frey and stuff was all, the early '80s and stuff. So it's amazing to me. There are young people who weren't even alive during the heyday of the Eagles, and they're coming from Florida to see the Eagles. I thought that was amazing. Just shows you, I guess, um, some bands and some music. It's just it goes beyond that time frame. I like the Eagles. I like the Eagles. I've never had a problem with the Eagles, but when I heard that the Eagles were coming to the Sphere, like a year ago or whatever it was, I didn't go, oh boy, the Eagles. I just didn't. I was just like, yeah, okay, whatever. But everyone I've picked up from that show just raves about it, about how great, and all ages. Like we had this the young lady from Florida, and I've had people, from her age all the way up to my age, and even older. But that is more logical. But people in their 30s, their 40s, their 50s love the Eagles. They love the show, and they love the Sphere, what they were able to do at the Sphere. Big Hook, is CSI Vegas still shooting? I don't think so. I haven't seen him shoot anything, and I've never really watched that show other than maybe one or two shows. Maybe how long has that been on? Like 20 years? Maybe I might have watched a couple like 20 years ago. I'm not even sure if it's still on or not. Marcia says the ex and I went to Las Vegas lots of times with his crappy friends. I had fun when my dad met us there. Christine Weibel says I was 9 years old when my mother took us to Vegas. Didn't even live there a year before going back to Massachusetts, where I was born. Josh says, how the hell is TJ caught up in chat in under an hour? Well, now I'm behind again. So. Pam J says we went to Vegas for New Year's in 1998 and partied like it was 1999 until it was. That's what I used to do. Probably back in the '80s and a few times in the '90s, I guess. Would go to Vegas for New Year's Eve. Not every year, but probably over that time period, a half a dozen times or so. William Don Henley is the only original member. Yeah, he's the only one left. Roxanne, I love the Beach Boys too. Chris Doug, original Eagles, Don Henley, Glenn Frey, Randy Meisner, and Bernie Leadon. Now I know that Glenn Frey, he passed away a few years ago. He was replaced by Vince Gill, basically. Even though I think Glenn Frey's son is in the band, but Vince Gill is the one that they brought in to replace Glenn Frey, I believe. Randy Meisner just died. He just died a few years ago, I think. And then the guy who replaced him, who was really been around since the '70s, because Meisner? One of them kind of fell out. Like he wrote some of their great songs, and then he kind of burned out and left the band. Then they brought in another guy, and I can't remember his name, but he seems like an original member because I think he's been around since the '70s also, and I think he just died just this year or late last year. And then Joe Walsh, he's been around. He joined the band in the late '70s, I believe, after his very successful solo career and everything. So he feels like an original, even though he's not, because he's been with them for so long. But yeah, as far as the originals, yeah, Don Henley's the only one left. Suzanne Farisepi, we boomers are a dying breed. Well, I think we're all dying. We're all dying. We're all one day's closer to death. Fancy says those slot machines are fun. Um, Pam J says I love the Beach Boys, but Mike is a dork. MJ Daniel, I'm on the edge of boomer, born in '62. We got to see the cool bands in their prime, at least a lot of them. Yeah, I was born in '60, and so I'm considered a boomer. That very end of the boomer era. Roxanne Epstein, I miss Tom Petty. Yeah, I like Tom Petty. He was really good. Mad Mac, Joe Walsh. I did say Joe Walsh. Big Hook, I need to renew my passport. Not going to the U.S. As the hassle is too much. And no offense, but Trump is hurting Canada by abiding by USMCA. Judge needed to tell Trump he has to abide by it. Don Felder, William says. Yeah, Don Felder. Don Felder's very much alive. Is he? You sure about that? Might want to recheck that. Hey, Teresa TAK is here. Have good to see Teresa. Thanks for being here. Teresa says hi. I'll hug. Sorry, cannot say hi to each name. Having a little problem with my right hand. Trying to rest my hand. Well, yeah, rest your hand. And I think a group hi is sufficient, if you know what I mean. MJ Daniel, Pink Floyd, Dark Side of the Moon. I think that would be cool to show at the Sphere if they could. Big Hook, ELO, and I think ELO says ELO is still going strong. Jeff Lynne is amazing. Roger Hodgson is still sounding great. Um, isn't Roger Hodgson's from Supertramp? Anyhow, I think ELO would be a great band to play at the Sphere. And they just ELO just did a tour, and I thought that was their. I thought that was Jeff Lynne said that was it. They were like quitting, retiring, whatever. But if they could do like a resident, I think they would be a great show at the Sphere. And like I said about Pink Floyd, if David Gilmour and Roger Waters could ever patch things up, I think they would be great as Pink Floyd at the Sphere. That would be great. Got to make that happen. Big Hook, Pink Floyd, The Wall, first record purchase. I think my first record purchase that I actually purchased with my own little money. Gosh, I can't remember. I mean, I can kind of remember it. 'Cause I remember I had a couple of albums that I got like as gifts or something, and I used to get 45s, little 45s. And I had a couple. I had like a K-Tel album that I think my parents bought me, and I loved that album. Had a bunch of great hits on it from like the '60s, and then I got another album that I think was gifted to me. But the very first one that I actually bought, because I think I was about 9 or 10 years old, and I got an album. I bought an album, and I don't remember what it was. I thought it was I don't know. I was thinking it was the Beatles, the Let It Be album, but I'm not sure. I don't know. I'm blanking on it. Chris Doug Felder wrote the guitar intro to Hotel California. Yeah, I think he just died recently. Christina Weibel, I don't blame you either, Big Hook. The same people are with Canada. Um, MJ Daniel, what I was afraid would happen is DJT is starting to feel arrogant enough to ignore the court order. So what the fuck are the people going to do about it? Yes, Supertramp. um, I like Supertramp. They're good. They were a good band. I think I had the Breakfast in America album. Chris Doug Don Felder, 77-year-old and alive. Okay, well I'm glad he's alive. But yeah, he's the one that left the band, right? I think, and even though he wrote a lot of more than just the intro to Hotel California, I think he wrote a couple of the really biggest hits. And he left the band at the height of the career, or the height of their popularity, I think. Because I think he just had some issues, maybe with Don Henley, or maybe with just, you know, people have issues, you know. Christina Weibel, I'm a boomer, 1961. Roxanne Epstein, I was born in 79. That's when I graduated from high school. 79 is fine. Christina Weibel, don't work too hard, Pam. Have a wonderful afternoon. Oh, I guess Pam went to work. Marcia says Pink Floyd Dark Side of the Moon saw them at Soldier Field, Chicago for the Pigs on the Wing. Big Hook says every time Jeff Lynne says he is considering retiring, the fans sell out all his concerts and demand more. Well, the fans need to start saying, hey, you need to go and do a residency at the Sphere. Let's make that happen. Mad Max says the first record I bought was the Monkees in mono. I think I had a Monkees album too. Roxanne Epstein, I love Pink Floyd. I'm wearing their Pulse shirt right now. Speak of the devil. Huh? Fancy, I love the Monkees. I love the Monkees too. Chris Doug, Don Felder did the title track to the animated fantasy classic film Heavy Metal. EJ Daniel says your comment earlier reminded me of Pink Floyd lyrics. The sun is the same in a relative way, but you're older, shorter of breath, and one day closer to death. The sun is the same in a relative way, but you're older. Yeah. Shorter of breath, and one day closer to death. Soulcraft, now counting the soundtrack to Star Wars or 45s, mine was Iron Maiden's Power Slave, mainly for the art. They did have some pretty cool cover art there. Chris Doug, Bernie Ledden quit. Felder was kicked out. I think that might be a bit of, depending on whose perspective it is. Felder might say he quit, that he left. Anyhow, the Soulcraft first cassette was Duran Duran, Seven and the Ragged Tiger. Duran Duran, they were huge in the 80s. Mad Max, Crime of the Century was Supertramp's best, in my opinion. Is that the one that has right, you're bloody well right. You're bloody well right to me. MJ Daniel, I just saw Pink Floyd in 87, no waters, but still very good. Tim Farrell's here. Hey, Tim, good to see you. Hello, gang, he says. Thanks for joining us as we just have a little Tuesday hangout. Marsha, I love Queen. Me too. I love Queen. Christina Weibel had an album by Chicago. It was 24 254624. Is that the name of their album? Zograf and on the Division Bell. Big Hook says, thanks, Christina and Marsha. We don't hate you, but you need to fix a lot of shit that Trump has exposed. Jon Stewart was really harsh last night about the fever breaking shit. Big Dog NC, I'll be listening while I get some stuff done. I've been lazy since I got back from DC. I'll check back in later, because that is. All right, Big Dog. Well, thanks for checking in. Thanks for checking this out. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, and share, and all that good stuff. Christina Weibel says, I struggle every day to stay in the fight against fascism. Well, we need you in there, Christina. Stay in there. Don't give up. Yeah, Mad Mac, 25 or 6-4. That's what I thought it was. Marsha, good album. Christina Weibel, 25 or 6-4. Has an interesting story about what the song is about. Look it up. It's kind of long. Big Breakfast in America is no slouch either. Yeah, that's the one I had, and I used to play the heck out of it. MJ Daniel, a couple of albums with my favorite cover art are Black Sabbath, Sabbath Bloody Sabbath, and Kansas. Monolith, really good albums too. Yeah, I had the Kansas album with Carry On, My Wayward Son. They had 2 hits on that, and that was the only 2 hits they ever had, really. It was Carry On, My Wayward Son, and then the other one that I can't remember, and I'm sure someone will put in the chat. Josh says, Chicago is a great band. We need more bands with brass sections. Actually, Chicago, now again, I don't know how many of the original members are around, but they are performing, or they were, maybe they're gone already, but they were performing in Vegas, I guess just the last week at the Venetian, I believe. Because I picked up a few people that just came from that concert, and they said it was great. And these were younger people that probably in their 30s, and Chicago was big in the late 60s and the 70s, through the 70s, and a little bit in the 80s, I guess, early 80s. But so that band's been around forever, and people are going and seeing them, and they said it was great. And again, I don't know. Hopefully, there's at least 1 or 2 original members left. I don't know. Because at what point does the band become, the band, or does it become like a tribute band, a cover band, or something? The Soulcraft says the high school band I work with does 25 or 6-4. Dust in the Wind, William. Yes, that was it. Dust in the Wind and Carry On, My Wayward Son. That was about the only 2 hits they ever had, and they were both on that same album. But those are 2 great songs to have. They have more hit records than I do. Mad Max says, I was a records and tapes store manager back in the 70s. There you go. Soulcraft, the Tower of Power horn section. Oh, yeah. I guess that's what they called them, huh? Chris Doug, Kansas Point of No Return was an album I got as a preteen. I got that, I guess I was in high school when that came out. Tim Farrell, there was only one, Terry Kath. Was Terry Kath the kind of lead guitarist in Chicago, and who really was kind of the main guy? And I forget if he died or whatever, but then then it was like Michael McDonald. I thought when Michael McDonald came in the band, it ruined it. But anyhow. But he kind of had long, kind of blonde, dirty dishwater blonde hair, right? Kind of, if that's who I'm thinking of. Carolina, I'm just here listening, turning into my 200 amp electric main panel. My ceiling radiant heat is out. Got down to 48 the other night, so tired of problems. Good thing I know what I'm doing. Well, be careful, Carol, with those amps. That amperage. Don't want you to get shocked. MJ Daniel says, I love a good brass section. Who doesn't, by the way? Chicago, Steely Dan, Earth, Wind, and Fire, Tower of Power. And the E Street Band. How about them? Big Hook, remember that the billionaires want us to fight over the scraps and all the cancel culture issues they use to distract us against the fact that they don't pay taxes to what should be fair. Like I've said, at some point the shit is really going to hit the fan, and I think there will be an uprising if this continues. Chris Doug, let's not forget ever the great Doobie Brothers. Again, the Doobie Brothers were really good until Michael McDonald got in the band or whoever. Didn't he get in that band too and ruin it? Doesn't Michael McDonald just get in bands and ruin them? The Soulcraft, y'all would love 5-album funk after this play 5-album funk live from the Commodore. If you want to try one song of theirs, do Chaos is a Ladder. These guys are so fun live. Huh, 5-alarm funk. Not sure if I've ever heard of them. James Hiramino says at MJ Daniel, ELP's Brain Salad Surgery is a wild album cover. Mad Matt, yes, he was TJ. So that Terry Kath, yeah, he wrote some great songs for Chicago. I think that's when Chicago was really great. Mad Mac, he put a starting pistol to his head as a joke, but the sound killed him. Really? That's almost the same way that one actor died. Remember that actor? He was this big hunky guy, young guy, really good looking, muscular, and he had just sort of had a big break. Like he had done some stuff, a few things, and then he got a TV show or something. And he was on the set of that TV show, and it wasn't a starter pistol, but it was like a prop gun that shoots blanks. And he put it to his head as a joke and pulled the trigger, but the recoil or whatever from the gun was so impactful that it like crushed his temple or went into his temple and killed him. I forget that guy's name, but you guys know that story, right? So that was very similar to that. Wow. See, that's horrible. Those things are horrible. Yeah, William says Terry was killed in a gun accident. Big Hook, Richard Jetta is right in saying it's time to eat the rich. It's definitely time for us to say, we're not taking your shit. We outnumber you 99.9 to 1 to 0.1. And if we ever get our shit together and we can ever stop fighting amongst each other, and that's why they do that. That's why they always try to pit us against each other. If we can ever stop doing that and rise up as in one voice, they will be scared shitless. The Elon Musks of the world will be scared fucking shitless. And then we will get the country and the government that we want. But that's the problem, is coming together on what government do we want. Do we want a right-wing authoritarian government, a racist government, or do we want one that is about equality and fairness? Chris Doug says it was not a starter pistol. MJDL, Bruce Lee's son Brandon on the son, not son Brandon. Now that was a different story. That's not even the one I was talking about. Brandon Lee, he was shot during filming. Marcia says, my sister was 9 years older than me. It was the one thing we were on good terms about. She took me and my friends to concerts when we were 13 years old and on. Pam J. Brandon Lee died that way with a blank. Chris Doug kept died self-inflicted gun room, 9mm semi-automatic. Pam J, we know where you live because you live in gated communities. Feeding the rich, I doubt they taste good, says Josh. Pam J, Newsom Buttigieg, 2028. Newsom's going to have to do some repairing for me. I don't like his podcast. I don't like the idea. I know that Hal was kind of defending it and saying it was kind of smart or whatever. From what I've seen, and I've only seen that one with what's his face, Charlie Kirk, and I didn't watch the whole thing, but the parts I watched were just Newsom just. It was like the ass kissing that he was doing was just so out of line. It's one thing to bring on like the opposition, but if you're gonna do that, then fucking oppose. Don't lick his fucking nutsack all day long. And that's what Newsom was doing to Charlie Kirk. So Newsom's got some fucking explaining to do with me, because I've always been a Newsom fan until that podcast. Roxanne says, I'm walking Fred, my pup, outside. It's sunny, but out just lovely. That's good. That sounds like a nice time. Tim Farrell says, Europe is rising up against the extreme right. It is spreading. And it will happen here. If this keeps going on, it's going to happen here. I believe it. We're going to make Occupy Wall Street and the 99% movement look like a day in the park, because it's going to be everywhere. It's going to be everywhere. And to the point where, the media can't ignore it. And Jay Daniel says, yes, on the set of The Crow, it was a 44 mag, and the plug from the blank killed him. That was so sad. Just taking in his prime, Brandon Lee, really sad. Tim Farrell says Harris Swalwell. I don't know if Harris is going to run for president again. She might run for governor, they're saying. I just did see a post on Substack, I think it was, where what's her face? Katie, Katie, what's her face is going to run? The one with the whiteboard, the white, the white, the little whiteboard. But she's going to run for governor of California. Katie. What's her name? God damn it! Why do I forget people's names all of a sudden? Anyhow, you guys, I'm sure someone in the chat will tell me. MJ Daniel, nope, Schumer was wrong. Well, I don't know. I mean, we kept the government going and we didn't give Trump the power that he wanted to do things like wiping out Medicaid or whatever, right? Isn't that what we averted? So I don't know if he was wrong or not. Lesser of two evils and all that, you know. Soulcraft says Gavin is getting better at being asked questions than asking. He didn't push back at all. Yeah, he is good at answering, not asking. Marshall says, I don't know how the hell folks like me are going to survive this from this administration. I try not to ruminate on it. Calling my senators and the representatives of my district is about all I can do. Yeah, I know it's tough. It's scary, and I think a lot of us were on pins and needles, and we don't know what's going to happen. It's it's not a good way to live, and it's not a good way for our country to be run, where most of its people are we're on pins and needles, and we're wondering, what's going on, and that's why we see the stock market, falling because the stock market doesn't like that type of instability either. The Soulcraft says we need to team up and stop the infighting because MAGA has teamed up. Katie Porter, thank you, Fancy. Yeah, I just saw. I didn't read the article, but I just saw the little post that said Katie Porter's running for governor. I guess she's announced it. I don't know. Pam J, I read that Mel Gibson was going to run for governor, and he probably still has a great fan base. But he's lost a lot of fans over the last 15 to 20 years with all these things that he's come out saying, anti-Semitic things, especially, and very misogynistic. So he's lost a lot of fans, also. So I don't know if his fame is enough to get him that. Hopefully not. Hopefully, if Harris runs or Katie Porter, Katie Porter would be, I think, would be phenomenal. I think Harris would be a phenomenal governor. I like Katie Porter. I think Harris might be my choice, but Big Hook. I think the town halls need to be held every day by the prominent Democrats and grow the rebellion to this autocratic dictator takeover. Yeah, I agree. We need more of this kind of barnstorming. I've been saying, like, from Bernie and AOC, and not just those two. It can't just be those two, though. There needs to be a whole cadre, if you will. That is a positive, right? Cadre of Democrats going out and telling the American people, even if there's nothing you can do because we don't have the numbers in Congress, but at least letting the American people know that we hear you, and not in a funny Bill Clinton, I feel your pain type of thing, but in a sincere manner that, hey, we hear you and we're going to fight for you, and do everything we can to slow down and Donald Trump, and if nothing else, be a sounding board for the people to come in and just let them vent. Let the people come in and just let them vent. And even if they yell at you and scream at you, just let them do it. Let them have that moment. You know. Soulcraft, 4 years out, I'm not writing any potential candidates off. Josh says farmers don't even know what to plant this year. Marshall says I will not be voting for Durbin ever again. He's been needing to go for some time now. Can't even leave a voicemail for the jerk. Schumer canceled his fucking book tour, coward that he is. Well, he just wants to sell books. Apparently, he should be out there just explaining, and he has. I've seen him. I've seen him get in front of the camera and explain why he voted the way he did. I think he needs to just keep doing that. And I wish that for God, he would learn how to just talk like a normal human being. The Soulcraft says, I wish Luke Skywalker would run, aka Mark Hamill. I guess he's right at 70. Well, if he doesn't want to run, he doesn't want to run, Chris Doug says that the disarray in the Democratic Party now is a good thing. The strongest, best characters will rise to the top. Time to review and vet all of them. I wish we would get more AOCs. I really do. I love AOC. We need more of her. And even if I don't agree with her all the time, because she has come out against Schumer. And look, I'm not a big Schumer fan, and I think he is out of touch. And I've commented about how I don't like the way he talks because he doesn't talk plainly. I like people who talk plainly. AOC talks plainly to me. Even Bernie, he talks plainly. I understand them. Chuck Schumer, I'm like, what? What did he just say? He just talked like a fucking normal person. God, is that too much to ask? Pam J, don't forget, California gave you Reagan. You don't want a President Gibson. Marsha says, Jasmine Crockett, we need a lot more like her. Jasmine Crockett, she's awesome. I love her too. We need a lot more like her and AOC. The center is too weak to fight this Republican MAGA regime. Yeah, Jasmine Crockett, AOC, we need more of them, and they need to go maybe on a barnstorming tour together, just the two of them, maybe. I don't know. Josh says, Schumer's voice sounds like a kazoo. Pam J, Tim Farrell, I'm not sure how I feel about Gavin either, Tim, but he's done a good job for California. And I think we still have time for him to, at least with me, to rehabilitate his character with me or something. Fancy says Michael Cohen is always complaining about Schumer. Marcia says, I wouldn't have bought this stupid book anyhow. Hey, Paul Sharkey-Manion's here from across the pond. Good to see you, Paul Sharkey-Manion. Thanks for being here. Hey there, TJ and my lovely trucker friends. Just see the indiscriminate killing of over 400 men, women, and children with full support of the White House. Yeah, I saw that too. And I mentioned it earlier. It's disgusting. And I guess we're back to that. Donald Trump is saying, do what you got to do. He really wants to build that Trump Tower there. So you gotta clean it out. You gotta clean all those Palestinians out of there, I guess. And it's disgusting. I'm not for it. Big Hoot needs shut eye before Randy Rhodes later said my piece. Keep up the right folks. News. All right, Big Hoot. Well, thanks for being here. Thanks for spending some time with us. And we'll see you around in the other chats. And we'll see you back here on Thursday. Hopefully. Pam J says women won't win elections until we improve education in red states. Well, they won't win, I guess, maybe presidential elections. There's a lot of women winning, like AOC and Jasmine Crockett, Elizabeth Warren. They're winning at the Senate level, House level. The state levels, Chris Doug says Congressman Jamie Raskin is a no-nonsense ass kicker. He knows the law and schools those who do not. I want him to head up the DOJ. He's good. Jamie Raskin is another good one, for sure. Paul J says, I went to a congressional town hall yesterday in Eastern Washington, and Baumgartner got an earful. Nice. Paul J. Glad to hear it. They need to get an earful. Regardless if they're Republicans or Democrats, I mean, I think they all need to get an earful. They need to know how we feel. Chris Doug says, I would totally trust Raskin in any higher position of power. And Josh says, I think Raskin is the best voice we have right now. He is excellent. Very, very good. I like Jamie Raskin. And those are the type of folks that we need to vote in. The Jamie Raskins, Jasmine Crockett's, AOC's, even the Bernies, Elizabeth Warren's. We need more and more of those folks in Congress and all through our representatives. Can you guys hear there's like a lawnmower and there is no lawn. It's a patch of dirt. I don't know what he's mowing. Pam J says they are not winning enough. Too many women in the Midwest voted for Trump. I guess that's what I'm saying. Yeah, at the presidential level. Richard says Trump has nicknames for his opponents. Trump is a child. Hey, Richard, by the way, good to see you. Yeah, Trump, he thinks he's funny. That shit does connect with MAGA because they're all just as stupid as he is and infantile, and juvenile. And that's why he does it, because he gets a reaction out of MAGA, you know? Josh says Dan Goldman is great, but he's boring. He's so boring that I don't even know where he's from or what, Marcia says, I will not refer to Felon 47 by his name. What do you all suggest we should call him? The orange goo? The big pile of orange goo. I don't know. Richard says in Australia they won't put up with the likes of Donald Trump like character. I think we're about there. I think we might be there at some point. Unfortunately, it takes the masses a lot to get going. We have masses here, and it takes a long time to get them going in the right direction. But eventually, this shit keeps going the way it's going. There's going to be some upheaval, I believe. Fancy says the suffragettes call him Dinky. Mr. Spock is here. Hey, live long and prosper. Mr. Spock says orange sphincter turd. Anthony Reminiak. Hey, Anthony, good to see you. Anthony says, how about silly putty? Mad Max says, I won't use his name either. I call him Orange Felon, Orange Rapist, Orange Turd, etc., etc., etc. Chris Doug says, I thoroughly enjoy it when Representative Jared Moskowitz, Democrat Florida, rips Grand Wizard James Comer a new one. The Republicans all fall silent when he points out their hypocrisy. Josh says, so boring, I don't know where he's from. Laughing my fucking ass off. The Dan Goldman, yeah. Marsha says, yeah, Dinky is good. Yeah, whatever it is, he certainly isn't very likable, is he? I don't like him. I never have. Even before he was president, I never liked the guy. I've never been a Donald Trump fan. like even going back in like the 80s and 90s, he was always in the gossip columns or the gossip TV shows as being the New York billionaire who was fooling around or had a new wife. He was fooling around on his wife. He was that was what he was always in those shows for. I didn't see anything redeeming about him then, and I certainly don't see anything redeeming about him now. He just gets getting worse and worse and worse. He's just getting elected the second time has really sort of, I guess, boosted his ego where he just gets worse and worse and worse. Soulcraft says same. Hated him since day one because he's a transparent con. Big hook, big hooks, big hook, big hook. Oh, coming back in says orange folius, folius, orange folius, orange folius, like orange Julius, orange folius. Soulcraft says I think Walz speaks the best and connects with people. Yeah, Tim Walz. Yeah, he's good, and he's probably going to run for president. He could end up being the president. I can see that. I can see Tim Walz being president. Because he has that down to earth thing, that Trump professes, or maggots say Trump has. I don't think Trump is down to earth. I think Trump acts like he puts on an act to what he thinks down to earth is. And these maggots are just too stupid to. They lap it up because they love the racism and the bigotry and the misogyny and the homophobia and transphobia. They love all that shit. But Tim Walz is the real deal. He's the real down to earth guy. He can connect with the common man, I think, really well. And he has great policy positions. I could see Tim Walz being at least the nominee, the Democratic nominee. I could see him winning the nomination. And I would be all for it. 100%. Chris Doug says John Gotti was the Dapper Don. Trump is simply Diaper Don. Michael McAndrews, I like Tim Walz. I like him too. We'll see how it shakes out. I'm pretty sure he's going to run. We'll probably have we're probably going to have Walz running, Newsom, Buttigieg will probably run again. I don't think Harris is going to run again. I think she's done. I think she might run for governor of California. I don't think she's going to run for president. So as far as women, I don't think AOC is going to run yet. I don't think so. I think she might have her eyes set on the Senate, going from the House to the Senate. I don't think Elizabeth Warren's going to run. She's 75. I don't think she would run for president again. I'm just trying to think like who would be the next woman to run. There'll probably be a couple of women that will run, but I mean, like who's going to be that's really, and you never know who's going to come out on top. But yeah, there's going to be a few names in there. There's going to be at the very beginning of the 2028 campaign. We're going to have 10 or 12 people in there start off, and then after the first, one or two primaries, a bunch of them will drop out when they only get, less than 1% of the vote or whatever. But yeah, I like Walz a lot. I would not mind a Tim Walz presidency. Fancy likes Walz also. Terry Taylor's here. Hey, Terry. Good to see you. Hi, Terry Taylor. Thanks for dropping on in and saying hi to everybody. Paul Sharkamandian, the suffragettes stood up to a tyrannical government and changed history. Marsha likes Tim Walz. Jolie loves Tim Walz. We're getting a lot of support here for Tim Walz. Look at that. The Trucker John Driver's Lounge. We might just be almost in full endorsement mode here pretty soon. Josh says, I think if they flipped the ticket, Walz Harris would have won. Well, I don't know, Josh. I mean, we say that now, but who really knew Tim Walz beforehand? I think it needed. I think he needed to go in as a VP. I don't think it would have worked just going. That wouldn't have worked. When Joe Biden stepped down, the only way they could have, without having to rerun some sort of a primary that late in the campaign, I don't think they could have chosen anyone other than Harris, and she was already on the ticket. So I think it had to be that way. I think it had to be Harris on the top of the ticket and Walz as the VP. But now we all know who Tim Walz is now. And we see him going out on shows and we see him talking and speaking. He's primed for a run. Even though it's a long way away still. It'll be here sooner than we think, but it's still a ways off for 2028. Marshall says, it sucks that Kamala Harris didn't win. You're damn right it sucks. You're damn right. Christina's back. Walked the dog. Started my dad's laundry. There you go. Chris dug that name as well since the court could never win a conviction. Christina Weibel, I'd vote for Walz 2028. I think, Josh, Walz Raskin is my pick. The Soulcraft AOC would be great as senator, but she'd be great VP. Schumer seat doesn't open until 28. Yeah. Well, like I said, it's a ways off, but it'll be here sooner than you think. And AOC is so young. I think she could use a term or two as a senator and then be poised to take, to run for president. And that's a long way off. That is a long way off, right? That's at least, if she, let's say she won in 2028, that's still almost 3 years away. And then you got, say she does 2 terms as a senator, that's 12 years. So you're looking at 15 years, but she would only be 50. She would still only be 50 or so, right? Somewhere around there, 50, early 50s. And she could run, and that's the perfect age, I think, to run for president and to be president. That's the perfect age. 50 is perfect. Big Dog, balls of the walls. Christina Weibel, Tim Walz, starting now. Chris Doug, Tim Walz speaks truth to power. He can communicate with the people. Anthony Ruminiak, I'm a Buttigieg fan. I think Buttigieg is great. Tara Taylor, Walz Raskin. That would be great. Big Dog, build that Walz. Carolina Walz would be awesome. Every time I see him speak, I think this is what we could have had. Christina Weibel, I will never vote for. Josh has fair point. Thank you, Josh. Christina Weibel says, I will never vote for Gavin Newsom, turncoat. I don't know if he's a turncoat. I wouldn't go that far. But I don't like the body language. I don't like the kissing up and the licking up of these guys. I haven't seen the Bannon one. I guess he did Bannon. I haven't seen it. I just saw a good portion of the Charlie Kirk one, and it was like stomach turning. Robert Perez says, if you were my cab driver, I would give you a big tip. Do not vote for a felon. Absolutely. Thank you, Robert, by the way. Chris Doug says, Dems need to stop looking backwards to Obama and the Clintons. We need new leadership looking forward. I agree. Christina Weibel, Tim Walz is the perfect guy. I agree there, too. I mean, I know he's older than 50, but he's like, didn't he just turn 60 or 59 or 60? And so, yeah, he'll be in his early 60s. That's a great. That's a good age for president too. I think. Robert Perez just get an e-bike or to go to work. I think Robert Perez is like uh, really behind. Mad Max says if we do not do something about the current guy, we will most likely not have elections in the future. That's why let's make sure we can vote in 2026 and at least get the House back. And if we can get the Senate back, all the better. And let's just stop him and stop Trump in every way we can. Tim Farrell, we all love Pete, but can he win? I think he is our best, but number one priority is to win. I like Pete Buttigieg a lot. I don't know if he's our best. I think he's smart. I like how he goes on Fox and he challenges them and he lays everything out perfectly. Christina Weibel, 10 walls, town halls in red areas. James Jaramillo, Chris Doug, I'd love to see Hal Sparks on the debate stage. And I've said that all along, too. I'd love to see Hal Sparks get on the debate stage and stir things up over there on that stage. Chris Doug, Pete Buttigieg would excel as CIA director. Yeah, Pete Buttigieg you could put him in all kinds of places and he would do great. Josh says Newsom has, and I think this is a misprint. I think this is a typo. It says Newsom has used cat salesman vibes. I'm pretty sure you meant used car salesman vibes, but he could have used cat salesman vibes too. It could work either way. Marshall says, love Pete. The country is so ignorant, the realtors would attack him mercilessly. Tim Farrell says, I also don't believe that Harris lost. I can't prove it, but Musk brought a lot of money and technology into the swing states. I know there are questions, definitely questions about that. It's all fishy. It's all fishy, and you might be absolutely right, Tim. Christina Weibel, ABC, always be campaigning. Instead of always be closing, always be campaigning. And that's what it's come down to. Chris Doug, Pete Buttigieg as Secretary of State. He would be great there, too. Terry Taylor says, I agree, TJ, 50 to 60 to give some of us who are 59 and feeling less old. I just think that there's when you're in your 50s, I think you're still young, politically or whatever. You're not like fucking Grassley, whatever. You're. I think politically you can still be on the top of your game. You're still sharp. You still got your wits. 50s and 60s, you can still be very sharp. You have your wits, and you can still, you can really you've accrued enough knowledge and wisdom to give you that wisdom that you need. So I really think that 50s, early 60s, even the mid 60s, of course, but and even 70s or whatever. But I think just the 50s is because you're young enough where you can still kind of appeal to the younger vote too, because optics and stuff like that, it plays a big part in everything. But you're sharp and you're old enough that you've accrued enough knowledge and wisdom, and that doesn't mean AOC isn't smart now. She's very smart, and she's just in the years that she's been in Congress, she's taken her natural intelligence that she has and she's turning it into wisdom. And I just think how much more wise she'll be, and it's really a perfect time for her when she's in 50 or 52. Well, however it turns out, what the elections are, the years are. But she'll be in her early 50s. That will be perfect. She'll be seasoned. She will have experience as a House representative, and if she wins Senate, gets a Senate for a couple terms, she'll have Senate experience. So she'll have all this experience, this knowledge, this wisdom, and yet she'll still be young enough where it's not going to be like, oh, she's almost 80, type of a thing. and she's losing it. She's going to be perfect age, 50, 55, perfect age. And it's not about, well, whatever. Christina, why will Newsom normalize Charlie Kirk? Watch the whole part. Yeah, I didn't like it. The parts I saw, like I said, it was stomach turning. And I get if he doesn't want to be like he wants to bring in like the opposing view, and he doesn't want to be confrontational. That's fine, but still, you can't just lay down and let him walk all over you and act all buddy and keep talking about how his kid loves him. Like Newsom's kid, he kept saying his kid loves Charlie Kirk. And my response was, "Oh my God, what kind of a parent are you? You're a progressive Democrat, governor of California, and your kid idolizes Charlie Kirk? What the fuck, dude?" So just that alone kind of disqualifies you, as far as I'm concerned. Chris Doug says Charles Grassley is barely breathing corpse that they wheel in the Senate on a hand truck. Yeah, they'll be carting him out probably at some point. Charlie Taylor says, completely agree, TJ, about the age to run for president. Season, perfect word. Marsha, too many oligarchs in government Congress already. Well, that's why, right now we are a fascist state. I'll just say it. I mean, we've got Elon Musk in the White House giving hundreds of millions of dollars. He just gave another $100 million to Trump's super PAC the other day. It doesn't get any more fascist than that, folks. I'm not saying it's too late that we can't overcome this, but we need to all come up, like I said earlier, in one voice. We got to put our fucking a lot of shit, behind us and come together. We need to find that common ground and stand up to these fucking oligarchs. And believe me, they'll be scared if they saw millions and millions and millions of people just peacefully protesting, doing general strikes, not buying shit, and having a common voice of get the fuck and oligarchs out of our government. That should be our common cause. Get them out of our government. That would scare the shit out of them. Exhausted Liberals here. Hey, Exhausted Liberal, good to see you. Thanks for joining us here in the old driver's lounge. Joy Eldred's here. Hey, Joy, good to see you. Thanks for coming on in. We're just hanging out for a bit. Hanging out for a little bit here. Talking shit. But Josh says it would be funny if Newsom's kid was like, "What the fuck, Dad? I never said that." Yeah, and that's another thing. Maybe he might have just been using his son as some sort of a talking point or some sort of a way to, I don't know, blow smoke up Charlie Kirk's ass. It might have all been bullshit, and the kid's like, "Dude, what the fuck?" Kristen White, well, that's why I called Newsom a turncoat. Yeah, but to me, a turncoat is someone who completely goes to the other side, like, and joins the other side. I don't think Newsom has joined the other side. I just think he's taking a wrong tact here. It's all tactical. This shit is tactical, and I think he's taking the wrong tact. I think he needs to lay into him a little bit. Because he comes off to me, he just comes off as being really milquetoasty. We got enough milk toasts out there. Let's show some fucking spine, some backbone. Exhausted Liberal, how's your job going? It's going good. It's going really good. Carolina, I worry Americans too much like Russians, complacent until it's all over and too late to undo. Yeah, well, yeah. That's, I guess, a legitimate fear. Belfast Bob's here. Hey, Belfast Bob. Hello, folks. A bit late, but recovering from St. Patty's Day. Well, hey, um, I can understand that. It's completely understandable. Better late than never. Glad you got in here. Thanks for hanging out with us. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share. We're still at 3,820 subscribers. If you guys want to see me eat a dandelion live on the live stream, then we need to get to 4,000 subscribers. If you really want to see me eat a dandelion and live to tell the tale, we need to get to 4,000. Exhausted Liberal says one other politician besides Newsom, though, is actually breaking through, making headlines. No other Democrat is no other Democrat is getting no mainstream media coverage. Just a thought. No other Democrat is getting. That's got to be a typo. No other Democrat is getting maybe as much mainstream media coverage. I don't know. I think AOC gets a lot. I think Jamie Raskin gets a lot. I think Tim Walz has been getting a lot lately. All the names we've been mentioning, Jasmine Crockett gets a lot. So I don't know. I don't know if that's exactly true or not. Christina, they want us divided. We must stick together. I agree. Tim Farrell, don't eat dandelions, John. Well, that's the thing. That was the challenge. People want to see. Tim, you might not know this, but there are people in this chat room. They want to see me eat a dandelion, and they tell me it's not lethal, but I don't know. I'm not sure. That was the challenge set down, so I'm not backing away from it. If you want to see me eat a dandelion, then help me get to 4,000 subscribers. Terry Taylor says, will the Roberts Court, who gave Trump immunity for official acts, rein Trump in? I guess we'll see if their monster really is a king. Well, I guess that's the hope, that John Roberts doesn't want to go down as being the one that allowed Trump to destroy America. Chris Doug, another senator lawyer, is Adam Schiff. Love to see him on the Supreme Court someday. Yeah, he would probably definitely would be better than the conservatives that are on there, even though Schiff is very moderate, I think. Exhausted Liberal, I agree kind of with Newsom. If we want to beat the enemy, we must know and learn. I understand that, but I think, and I understand that. That's the tact. But I think he's going about it wrong. I think he's going about it a little too nicely. Very too nicely, a little nice and very nicely. A little too accommodating, a little too ass kissery. I mean, you got to have. I understand, bringing them on there, but he's not challenging them from what I've seen. Now, I haven't seen the Bannon one, but I was so repulsed. I don't know. I was so sickened by the Charlie Kirk one that I didn't even bother trying looking at the Bannon one. As a liberal, I meant without mainstream media. Mainstream props up everyone, and Newsom found a way to break through to the masses. Well, how is he? I haven't seen any. I don't know how many views he's getting. Is he getting into the millions? Maybe, I don't know. I don't even know. I don't even know. Maybe, hey, Gavin Newsom's a smart dude. I'm sure way smarter than me. So maybe he knows what he's doing. I don't know. Roxanne Epstein's here. Hey, Roxanne, good to see you. Thanks for being here. Tim Farrell, I want to see Trump eat a dandelion. Well, get him to 4,000 likes or subscribers and ask him. Am says, I would have respected Newsom more if he appeared on Fox News than having Charlie Kirk on his podcast. Yeah, because as we were stating earlier, Gavin Newsom, I think, is really awesome at answering questions. And, he has all the retorts down pat. But when it comes to like asking questions, probing questions, and from what I've seen, he just looks, I don't know, really milk toasty. Paul J says dandelions are supposed to be pretty healthy. Pamela, I want to see FDJT push up daisies. Belfast Bob, the dandelion flower is nice, dipped in homemade batter and fried. There you go. Getting some recipes for the dandelion. Exhausted liberal, I kind of agree, AM, but he is the only Democrat with a successful podcast reaching a different audience. He is trying to reach the center, not the far right. Well, I guess we'll find out if it pays off. If he becomes president in 2028, then I guess it'll all work out just fine. Christina Weibel Walls was on MSNBC yesterday. Marcia says, Josh, I had a salad at a wedding with dandelion in it. I was pleasantly surprised that it was so good. Christina Weibel says, kimchi. Is kimchi here? Did I miss kimchi? Or are you just talking about kimchi, the actual food kimchi? Because I don't see kimchi in here. Anyhow, so the Soulcraft says it's not like he's platforming them because both have their own bigger platforms. To be honest, well, I guess if his goal was to get if Gassam, that's a good name. Gavin Newsom is now Gavsam. If Gavsam or Newsom if his goal was to get views on his podcast, I guess that worked. I haven't seen the count, the viewership on it, but I guess of bringing in Charlie Kirk and Steve Bannon, I think that was his second one, if I'm not mistaken. If that got him, if his goal was just to get views, then I guess mission accomplished. Terry Taylor says dandelions are very healthy. You can eat the ones that pop up in your yard. Yeah, we've had this discussion before, and I didn't know they were so healthy. I thought they were just weeds, and I thought they might have even been something that could make you sick or kill you. I kind of have that attitude with just anything that's in the yard, you don't eat it, just in case. But people are telling me dandelions are safe and healthy to eat, so I guess it must be true then. Zaza Liberal says, I just heard Dumpy got a ceasefire deal. For fuck's sake, this guy is actually doing what he said he would do. I'm literally exhausted. My gas is cheap shit too right now. Well, it was going to be cheap anyhow because there was a glut created by Biden. So it was going to go down anyhow. And the ceasefire, I haven't seen the deal. I don't know. Is it still a one-sided deal? Because a ceasefire is not a ceasefire unless both parties agree to it. So let's see how that plays out. Michael McAndrews, I tell our friend to please try to keep the front yard out of the salads. Belfast Bob, the root is used as a coffee alternative. Terry Taylor says hi to Kimchi. I have not seen Kimchi in here, and I did not block Kimchi, and I have it on all messages. So I don't see Kimchi in the chat, but sometimes I miss things. It's like when I start my shift at work, and they give me a little sheet of paper that has the cab number, and there's on the computer you can look it up, and it tells you where it shows you on a picture. It's like a satellite or whatever picture, and it tells you where the car is at. And even though I have the number and I know where the car's at, I still end up walking around the lot trying to find it. And then I usually find it, and it was right where I had already walked by. I walked right by it the first time. And that's kind of what I'm doing now. If Kimchi's in the chat, I don't see her. But everyone else apparently does. And I have not blocked you, Kimchi. I don't see Kimchi. Because Doug is saying hi to Kimchi. Terry Taylor said hi to Kimchi. I do not see Kimchi for some reason. I don't know why. Weird. And I have it on all messages. And I have not blocked Kimchi. I would not block Kimchi. Big Dog says a limited ceasefire on energy and infrastructure only. He can still strike residents. See, that's not a ceasefire. That's not a ceasefire. Here's what the deal is. Russia, are you listening to me? You need to get the fuck out of Ukraine. Pack your shit, turn around, and go back to Russia. Okay? That's it. And return whatever lands that you may have taken, goes right back to Ukraine. Oh yes, and by the way, you need to send Ukraine trillions of dollars to rebuild all the shit that you blew up. You need to give reparations to Ukraine. That's the deal. Nothing less than that. Nothing less. Did you hear that, Putin? Mad Mac, I cannot stand that bimbo press secretary. What a biatch, little smart ass know-it-all. She takes every opportunity to bash President Biden. Yeah, well, don't let her troll you. That's them trolling. That is the Trump administration trolling. They told her to say that shit. They hired her for that shit because they know she'll do that shit. Just don't let her troll you. Just don't even watch that bitch. Big Dog NC says, and if anyone thinks Putin will keep his ceasefire, hasn't been paying attention. There have been 6 ceasefire agreements, and he's violated all of them. As for gas prices, give it time, my young Padawan. Hal Sparks has been saying for months and months and months that gas prices are going to drop, even when he knew that Trump was going to be president. He said they were going to drop because of what all the stuff that Biden did to give us this big glut of oil. Aaron West, Kimchi is not here. So everyone is saying hi to Kimchi, but she's not here. Well, I wonder if her ears are ringing somewhere. That's funny how people started saying hi to Kimchi. I guess it was because someone just said kimchi, and I think they were talking about the actual food kimchi. Big Dog, right on, Trucker John. Michael McAndrews, Ukraine should own Russia for what they have done. They should, but I'd be happy with them just leaving. Them getting all their land back, getting their people back, all the people they've kidnapped, all the kids they've kidnapped, and getting money from Russia to pay for all the shit they've destroyed, and letting Russia know that if they ever do anything like this ever again, that the entire world is going to stand up against them. But when we have a president like Trump in there, I don't know if we can count the United States being in on that, which is sad. It's sad as shit. Josh, Ukraine should get Crimea back too. I agree. Tim Farrell says the deal is Trump and Putin share Ukraine's mineral wealth. I hope Europe steps in with a better offer to Zelensky. Russia should get nothing. They don't deserve anything. They deserve punishment. Vladimir Putin deserves to be put up on war crimes. What he's done. Deliberately attacking hospitals and schools and civilian populations. Those are war crimes. Vladimir Putin should be hanged, as far as I'm concerned. Just like they did the Nazis. To me, he's nothing more than a Nazi. He should be hanged, just like they did at Nuremberg. Mad Max, Slava Ukraini, Belfast Box, Slava Ukraini. Absolutely. Slava Ukraini. Chris Doug, whether Kimchi is here or not, most of us say hello. Yes. Hello to Kimchi, wherever you may be. We all are missing you and wish you were here, but we hope all is well with you. Mad Mac, you got to drive a different cab each time. That sort of sucks, doesn't it? Nah, it's not that big of a deal. But yeah, I do get another one every time. I can't. I'm a part-time flex, so I can't take one home or whatever. If I was a permanent, like full-time employee that had a regular schedule, then they assign that car to you. But it goes to two drivers because usually one will be on the day shift, one will be on a night shift. And but anyhow, that's how it works. At least at this company. Different companies might be different. John from Las Vegas could tell you. He's also a cab driver, and he works for a different company. And he could let us know like how different their company might be. Terry Taylor, Slava Ukraine, Isaac Little, Slava Ukraine. Absolutely. I think most of us in this chat, we're all supportive of Ukraine and really disgusted with Russia. And we're disgusted with Trump and with Russia and with Putin. And when I say Russia, I'm basically talking about Putin. But we're disgusted with them. And so if they walk away with anything, that's too much. Putin doesn't deserve anything other than the hangman's noose, as far as I'm concerned. Azasa Little says, Kimchi is a goddess. She hears us wherever she is. Tim Farrell says, Trump better not host war criminal Putin at the White House. He probably will. Marsha says, Zelensky and Ukraine deserve their sovereignty, period. Dinky is and always has been a Russian asset. Yep, he sure is. Been getting that Russia money for a long time. Paul Sharkymanian, so Trump and Putrid have agreed to a limited ceasefire. Which is not a ceasefire, unless all parties agree to it. Chris Doug says 3 utility trucks just set up across the street, causing chaos and traffic. I will update when the first accident and the sirens start, horns already blaring. Wow. Well, that's not good. Chris Doug, rumor mill, says Putin has cancer in remission. Well, I remember a couple years ago, when Hal Sparks and Phil Ittner would talk about how Putin looked really bad, and they were using body doubles a lot of times, and we were thinking, Putin's going to keel over any minute now. But here he is, and he's looking a lot healthier. So yeah, I guess he looks like he's in remission. I don't know, when you're the world's richest man, I guess you can get the world's best health care, and he probably got on some treatment that has put him in remission, because he does look a lot better than he did a couple of years ago, I think, from what I've seen. And not that I see a lot of Putin footage, but I remember people talking about him having cancer like 2-3 years ago, mainly on Hal Sparks show, right? Mad Max says petrol prices in the Northwest are still $5.50 for regular. Con, I got to use premium in my Harley Pro. I get 50 mpg and have a 6-gallon tank, so you can get 300 miles. That's pretty good. Belfast Bob's laughing for some reason. As far as the gas down here, I don't, I haven't really purchased gas in a long time because I'm either in an EV or now driving the cab. All the fuel is paid for by the cab company and it's done right there on site. They've got propane, they've got gasoline tanks, and you just fill up right there in the yard. I never see the prices or anything. But I have noticed just from driving around that I think regular unleaded, it seems to be lower. It's like I think I saw it at 329 here around the strip. There might be some cheaper places as you go off the strip, but what I've noticed just from close around the strip, it's 329 a gallon for regular, which does seem to be. It seems like it wasn't too long ago, like it was over $4, I think, or around $4. But like I said, I don't really keep track of it since I don't really pay for it. But it does look like gas prices have dropped. And I remember Hal Sparks saying last year that that's what was going to happen this year. It was already baked in because of the Biden economic policies and energy policies. But of course, now Trump will try to take credit for it, even though he probably had nothing to do with it. Tara Taylor says gas prices are lower here in Maryland, but egg prices have gone up. Christina Weibel says Putin will never agree to a ceasefire. Paul J, 389-ish in eastern Washington. And I don't think Zelensky is going to do anything without assurances. I mean, Zelensky might have to give up some of the land they lost or something, and he's probably not going to expect any money coming from Russia, even though Russia should pay for everything to rebuild Ukraine. But I think Zelensky would just be happy if Russia left, turned their troops around and stopped bombing them. And if they would do that, and if he could get some assurances that they're not going to come back again, even though Putin's not a man of his word, but I know he's going to have some assurances that he won't come back, and if he does, that he will have the backup of at least Europe. America is not trustworthy now. He can't trust on America. They're building their own weapons manufacturing plants right now in Ukraine, and they're gonna gear up. They're gonna load up, man, and justifiably. Ukraine is going to build up their military as they should, and they need to have assurances that they'll at least have the backing of Europe, their European neighbors, to defend Russia. Because even if they leave, you could never trust, and as long as Putin is the leader, you can never trust that they won't just come right back again. So Ukraine they're gonna become one of the world's largest militaries probably as a result of this, and I can't blame them. I don't know if they'll ever get nukes back again, but they will have a huge military. They have to. They gotta. Chris Doug says, article said egg prices about to drop drastically. Kills are over and supply is increasing. Of course, Trump will take credit for something he has no control over. Yeah, of course he will. Christopher Weibel, 320 where I'm at in Florida. 320, that's lower than here even. Big Dog and C, America is now part of the axis of evil, which I've been saying for weeks now. And I still have a hard time wrapping my head around that. Yeah. Whoever thought? Whoever thought that? Mad Max says, we have 4 guys in my motorcycle club, as they call it, that have Can-Am Spyders, and they love them. One guy has a Harley trike and likes it, but wished he bought a Spider. Test ride both is my suggestion. Big Dog. Oh, I guess Big Dog. I missed it. That was Big Dog talking about getting a bike. Oh, I got to pay up my truck. Oh, he wants to try it. Big Dog wants to get a trike. Tara Taylor says exactly, Chris. He will definitely take credit, and his dupes will believe him, of course. Yeah, but what are you gonna do? It's gonna be the same dupes. It's not like he's gaining dupes. I think it's just the same dupes over and over again. You know. Marsha, I have to get some things that require the help of the home aid. See you next time. Thank you, Marsha. Thank you for being here. Always good to see you. And I'm about ready. We're over 2 hours now already. So yeah, I'm about to end the show. I think I might go to work today. I was only going to do Monday because I'm a part-time flex, and you're supposed to only work 30 hours a week, and so I was going to do it like Monday, Wednesday, Friday. But I might go in today anyhow because I can go over the 30, but like I've explained, there's a 6 month period that they add up your hours, and you can do a total of 749 hours in that 6 month period. So I might go in today. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. Who knows? But anyhow, guys, thanks for being here. I do appreciate you. You guys are awesome. Just want to say to all you here, just want to say thank you. Thank you to everybody who has contributed to the show with the super stickers and gifting memberships. Everyone who gave me a thumb up and a like. Well, that's the same thing. A like if you subscribed. We're still trying to get to 4,000, guys. We still need to get to 4,000 because I am interested in eating a dandelion. I want to know what it tastes like, you know. And I'm not going to do it until I get to 4,000 subscribers. Yeah, I'll be there. I'm gonna stuff that dandelion right down your gullet. No doubt about it. You know, just in case you try to back out of it. Well, no, Trucker John, I'll be there. I'm gonna make sure that you take all the way to the stem, from stem to stern on that dandelion. Every little petal. Yeah, that's right. Don't think you're gonna get out of it, Trucker John. I will make sure. All right, folks. So let's get Trucker John to 4,000 subscribers. I'll shove that dandelion right down Trucker John's throat. So far, well, you get the picture. Because that's just how I roll. That's how I roll, man. What can I say? I'm a bit of an asshole. I'm gonna admit it. But hey, whatever. Whatevs. What can I tell you? All right. Come on, man. That's not called for, Tough Cookie. I'm sure Trucker John he'll take the dandelion, he'll wave it around a little bit, probably smell it. For God's sakes, I hope he washes it off in the sink or something, rinses it, gives it a good rinse, and I'm sure, I'm not sure what Trucker John will do if he's going to just, gulp it all down in one fell swoop. Or is he going to enjoy every little petal one at a time? Take his time and enjoy it. I don't know. Who knows? But I can't wait. Personally, I can't wait to see it. So let's get Trucker John to 4,000 subscribers, and then we'll all see what happens with that delicate little dandelion. We'll see how Trucker John, takes care of business, as you like to say. We'll see. Yeah, we'll see, motherfuckers. No. We'll see. Eventually, we'll get to 4,000. It might not be till 2028. I don't know. At this rate. Anyhow, guys, thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you. Look, I can say thank you all kinds of ways. All kinds of ways. There you go. Thank you so much. We got that one. Got this one. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Let me just go back to, we can check out some of the fan funding. Michael McAndrews, here you go. Thank you, Michael McAndrews, for that $5 super sticker. And thank you. What's this one do? Oh, what? Oh, I don't even know what that is. That was kind of funny. But, subscribe, everybody. Don't forget to subscribe. And also, thank you so much to Fancy, who gifted a membership. So thank you, Fancy. I do appreciate you. And thanks for everyone else who liked, subscribed, and shared the show. I'll be back on Thursday. Chris Doug says 5,000, and I eat a sheet tray of brownies. Okay, but we'll be back on Thursday, 9 a.m. Pacific time. I think Hal is back to his regular schedule, so we'll do a Thursday 3 p.m. pre-show hangout on Thursday. Of course, Saturdays we do Hal Sparks after show hangout at about 11 a.m. I guess that's it for now, guys. Hang in there. I know it's tough. I know it's hard. I know it's tough and it's hard. And Trump is what he's doing, and Musk and everything. It's daunting and it's scary. And we don't know what's going to happen. We're on pins and needles all the time, and it's not a good way to live. But let's help each other. We stick together in places like this, places like Liberal Dan, Hal Sparks, wherever you go. These great chat rooms, I think it helps us to have this fellowship and this feeling of togetherness, and we're in it together, and we're going to get through it together. We will get through this together. All right, so until then, until Thursday, I'll see you guys then, and just hang in there, man. Hang in there, baby. It's going to be a rough ride, but I think we can do it. I think we can make it. We've been through so much. We've been through Trump before. We've been through COVID. We've been through all these I think we're battle hardened at this point. Is that the word? Is that the terminology? And I think so. Maybe it was all for a reason, to get us ready for this. So we're ready. We're ready to take it on, and we're gonna just all be there together. Thank you, Aaron. Thank you, Jolie, for being here. Thanks for having my back and watching the room and everything like that. And couldn't do it without you guys. All right. I guess that's it. Except for, of course, words of wisdom for you to write down. You might want to get a piece of paper, pen, write this down. Okay, ready? Here we go. Today's word of wisdom is that
Well, it's time to say goodbye. The show has come to an end. But don't be sad, no, don't you cry. We're all gonna come back and meet again. We'll have some fun times, hopefully nothing too bad. We might talk about war crimes, might talk about Baghdad. I doubt we'll talk about door chimes, but if we did, I'd be only too glad. So hasta la vista, baby. The show is over, but could I ask you maybe to take a shower? No, that's not what I meant, but I couldn't think of anything to rhyme with over. Now my whole rhyming scheme is all screwed up. Oh shit, I should have stuck to truck driving, who I tried to kid. At least when I was out there driving, I could handle right here on the Trucker John live stream. We're gonna do it again and again, right here in the Trucker John live stream. Yeah, the Trucker John live stream. We're gonna come back and do it all again. No, this ain't no dream. This is where we win, right here on the Trucker John live stream. Know it's time to say goodbye. The show is coming in. Don't be sad, no, don't you cry. We're all gonna come back and meet again.
Trucker John, on the road he rides, live streaming all through the nights. From politics to pop culture he speaks. No topic is off limits, nothing is weak. From Vegas to the highways, he'll never tire, shouting about food, talking about desire. He's the rebel of the asphalt, the king of the night. With a microphone in his hand, he's ready to ignite. Freedom is his fuel, passion in his soul. Gotta express himself, gotta take control. Moving through the country, keeping it real, no filter, no holding back, nothing to conceal. Rolling down the highway in my rusty old rig. I'm a retired trucker, but my spirit's still big. Living in Vegas, where the lights never sleep. Broadcasting my thoughts for the world to keep. From politics to pop culture, I've got it all. Sharing my views, no matter how big or small. Talking about food, the movies and bugs, shining a light on all the social issues. No shows, I've driven through the desert, seen the city so bright. But now I'm living in a different kind of fight. From my apartment in Las Vegas, I hold the key, exploring the world through my live stream for free. For free.